inspection of loading docks and the elements around loading docks is found in the ComSOP under Doors, Windows, and Interior 6.5.11. Inspectors are required or should inspect all loading docks. Inspectors should inspect all garage doors. Inspectors are not required to inspect any auto reverse or safety related items to the garage door. When it comes to the inspection of load levelers or hoisting equipment, the ComSOP does not expressly define what those pieces of equipment are. But because the inspection of load levelers or hoisting equipment does require specialized training, it could be considered technically exhaustive. When inspecting loading docks, there are three types of slope that we'll find. There is a declined slope, which means the dock is located on a slope that is going towards the dock or towards the building. There is a level slope, which means there is no slope whatsoever. And there's an incline slope, which means the dock is above the slope and the slope is heading away from the building. Also, when looking at loading docks, you'll find them to be covered or uncovered. A covered dock could be a complex portion of the building which the truck, the load, or the dock is located inside a confined space with a covering away from the elements, and an open dock would be open to the elements. When inspecting commercial properties, loading docks are a very vital part to any building. This could be one loading dock in the back of a restaurant or a lodging facility, or you could have multiple loading docks, dozens of them, in a large terminal facility. It is important to do your research so that you're not surprised when you show up to a property and the inspection of multiple doors, multiple docks, and multiple pieces of equipment could be an additional revenue stream for your inspection. On this video, we're going to look at 4 different types of docks. Our first dock that we have is a decline dock. It's a dock, as you can see, that is lower than our parking area. And then it just goes up to a platform dock that's up against the building. As we look at this dock, some key things that we need to look for. First, being a decline dock, we're going to look at our drainage and making sure that the water is controlled. We'll see that when we get a little closer. The next, we have to look outside the box. This is what separates a commercial inspector from other commercial inspectors, is the way we consult. As I look at this particular dock, I have this wonderful curbing that migrates all the way across the entire decline. On this curbing is a great spot, because it's in the parking lot, to be hit by snowplows if you're in a snow area, or by vehicles as they make the turns. A bollard nested right here in the corner would help protect this from any impact. Secondly, what we think about when we think about drainage and we think about height is, are there areas where a pedestrian can get hurt? So when I look at the parking area that's over on this side, and I have this wall that comes up here, if this wall is greater than 30 inches, we know it requires a guardrail. And so if down at the very end of this is 30 inches or higher, then a guardrail should be present. They're not often found, but if we have one, we want to look at it. If we don't have one, then that would be a consulting opportunity for you to encourage your clients to consider adding a guardrail for pedestrian protection. Let's go take a look at this dock a little bit closer when we go down into the decline area. The loading dock plays a vital role in the operation of this business, and it is important that it's going to function as it's intended. When I look at this loading dock, one of the first things we want to make sure is we have good bumpers. The bumpers are these large rubber cushions that are placed here so that when the trailer or the load or the truck backs up, it doesn't directly hit the concrete to break the concrete, either damage the truck or damage the dock as it is. One of the interesting things when we look at this dock, we do have a steel bracket placed here as a protector. There's a little rust on it. You can certainly identify that on your report, take a photo of it. The key is we need to make sure that our forklift or our pallet jacks or any other loading equipment doesn't have an obstruction. Think of it like when we think of our exterior inspections with a barrier to accessibility, this would be a barrier to operation. So we want to kind of tie those together and take a look at that. But, and I'm going to say this just as clear as possible, with a decline dock, it's very important to watch drainage. With drainage on this dock, we have this slot drain. This slot drain, we're not going to see where it discharges to, but the key is it full of debris? If it's full of debris, we want to note that. This one is absolutely ensconced in debris. And so that debris is going to block this drain. And if water just drops onto this open dock, then we could have a flood in here of 6, 8, maybe 12 inches of water. And that's going to be very dangerous to the employees, difficult for the operators of the trucks to come into. We might have some docks that might have sump pumps. You are not required to test sump pumps as part of the ComSOP, but identifying a pump is present is part of the ComSOP, and that's what you should do. Then beyond that, we want to inspect the outside here, make sure that we have guardrails on our stairs, hand railings on both sides. We want to make sure that there's no obstructions and no dangerous points that a pedestrian or a truck can come across. So when you look at a flat dock like this, a simple loading dock, watch cushions, check out drainage, make sure we don't have any impediments for movement, look at guardrails, and then consider any other damage that might be present as something important to let your clients know. This next dock is a really interesting dock because we're in the back of a commercial building and we've actually got 3 overhead doors all right here for 3 different tenants, all occupying the same dock space. This is considered a flush type dock. Again, it's flat to the side and it is in a level slope, which means we're coming right from the parking lot, right to here, no incline, no decline, it's level. Now, some of the key things, again, we want to reinforce is, are there bumpers? Which we have bumpers from this side. And then the one thing I think is missing, which is interesting to me, is that door that's right here is part of the exit discharge of the building. I identified that during my preliminary walkthrough. But when I look at this door, if I'm going out of that door in great haste during an emergency, I don't have any protection as I discharge from this door off of this 4-foot high ramp. So if I come out of this and not having a guardrail across here, to me, is a safety issue. We are not authorities having jurisdiction. We do not have any mandates that we can provide. But as a consultant, I might encourage my clients to put a temporary railing there. That's a railing to go in and go out, depending on if I need it or not need it for my various trucking or my dock use. But as a safety precaution to protect this dock, can you see this physical damage that we have here? There's a tremendous amount of it. This is from impact. So a bollard set right here would protect this from impact. In the same way, if we look at this other corner on this side, this has actually got more damage. Right at the same height as the tailgate of a vehicle, I've hit this with so much force that I've taken the concrete right off of it. While a bollard here would protect it, the bollard might impede the operation of this dock and how it works. So that's one of those things you kind of got to look at with your clients. If this is a rental property, they're not going to be as concerned about it as if they were owning this property. If they own this property, they might think of different ways because, again, the way this dock works, I can bring a truck in from this side and a truck in from that side. And so that really creates a scenario that might be difficult to protect. We'll go take a look at another dock next. Our third dock, like so many other commercial buildings, did not involve too far a walk. It's directly next to that second dock we just discussed. This particular dock is interesting because it's 2 docks in one. I've got a flush dock on this side. Again, it's right flat to the surface and it's perfectly aligned to the building. All we have to look at on these are basically our bumpers. Both of these docks on this side of the building are either partially inclined or flat. And on that drainage, that means we don't have any slot drains or any other drainage that's installed. The other type of dock we have on this side is called a cantilever dock. It is a cantilever dock because it extends just far enough away from the building and away from the flush dock to allow the vehicle, the truck, the trailer, or whatever to have access. Beyond that, we want to look at all the different components that are located around this door. So let's go take a look at those. Now, not all cantilever docks have all these same components, but some do. Now, one of the key aspects of any dock, again, is the bumper. That's our protection for the trailer from hitting the building. Now, this particular dock does have a leveler. The leveler is that part of the cantilevered surface. Now, with a leveler, again, that's not part of the ComSOP. It does take specialized training to exercise those, and so that is considered to be technically exhaustive. But there are two different types of levelers that will be out there. One is pneumatic, that uses hydraulics inside, that lifts up and drops down the leveler, and the other would be spring-loaded. How these work, if we'd open this up, it'd flop way up in the air, this steel plate extends, and you back the trailer up, and the trailer backs in, and then this allows any forklift, any cart, or any pallet jack to smoothly enter and exit a trailer. Again, that would be something considered beyond the ComSOP. But when we inspect all loading docks, we should be concerned with this cushion and the shroud that's around it. So when I'm looking at the cushions, I'm looking at this canvas or rubber that's around it. Make sure our reflective strip is intact. Make sure the cushion isn't damaged. These are all mounted on the building with brackets and grommets. So we want to make sure they're there, they're not rusted. At the top of every cushion is a hood, and that hood prevents any water or rain or anything else. And so the idea on these cushions is the trailer can back up and back up flush right to this cushion, depress it just enough that it creates a nice seal between the interior and the exterior to keep the elements out and to protect the loads. And so we would look at all of this as part of your inspection. On the exterior, I would want to pay attention to the overhead door, this garage door, and note any physical damage that might be present. And then I would do my operational check when I'm on the inside of the building, doing the inside or interior portion of the inspection. And then lastly, as I look at this dock and this area, it's very interesting because I've got the corner of this building, and the corner of this building is greatly exposed to any impact. And so this would be an excellent location for a bollard as well. I think you're going to find in your career, your recommendation for adding bollards to buildings will be almost every inspection, because you as a consultant and a professional commercial property inspector can see how the damage can occur to a building and how it can be so easily protected by a simple concrete or steel bollard. Let's go take a look at another dock. Our fourth dock is a dock not dissimilar to the third one, where it is a cantilever dock. It does have the load leveler, and in this case, we have an incline dock. An incline dock is a dock where the building is set higher and all the drainage is going away. That's important so that we can always make sure that we don't have any water or any other weather going into the building as a result of coming off of a trailer or something else. With an incline dock, you're not going to be so concerned with trying to identify slot drains or sumps or anything else, because that drainage is all over land. But with that, let's take a look at some of the issues that we have a little closer on this particular dock. This dock has those same features that our previous dock had. We've got a load leveler, a little different brand because it's a different building, but we still have the same type of mechanism. We still have the same bumpers. But in this particular building, our cushion and our covering around this is severely damaged. We're not only ripped, but our foam is basically useless. And so with that, we want to note that. We want to note the fact that our reflective strip or our guide strip is missing. And the only thing that really works well on this entire cushion is the hood, because it's too high to be damaged. So photographing this would be important for you in your inspection report, because there's a tremendous amount of cost in this. And if we had 50 docks and all each had cushions that look like this, 50 times a few $1,000s is a great deal of money for anybody. So we want to definitely look at that. And beyond that, on the exterior stuff, we would want to definitely look at the peeling paint, the wood damage, and anything else. Then you would identify physical damage to the door, which this door looks pretty good, and we want to go inside this building and test the operation. Aside from just your normal dock inspection, what can give you a great opportunity to be a consultant for your client is talking about trailer locks. A trailer lock is a device that would be installed right here to the building, and it physically locks the trailer in place and prevents the trailer from leaving the building, vacating this dock without somebody on the interior of the building discharging the lock. That's a safety device so that you don't want to have somebody in the trailer, a forklift operator, a laborer with a pallet jack, or somebody in that trailer, as the trailer leaves, they fall out. So if you don't see trailer locks, that could be something you could go to your client and say, boy, a trailer lock would be certainly a great safety feature. That might even help their ratings on their insurance possibly. But looking for that, while not part of the ComSOP, while not part of the standard inspection, could be an excellent consulting opportunity for you and your clients. The ComSOP states that an inspector should inspect all overhead doors. So the inspection of the overhead door is basically identifying any physical damage and identifying to make sure all the parts are there. Some of the key parts could be a lock, could be an opener, of which we already talked about that we do not have to verify the auto reverse or any safety mechanisms, but we should also look at rollers, hinges, panels, and then of course the spring. The spring is located at the top of the door, and the spring is purposefully there as to relieve the pressure of the door and take the weight of the door so that the inspector does not have to, or any operator does not have to lift the entire weight of the door. Beyond that, if it's a mechanical door, you hit the button, see it go up, see it come down, and then hit the stop button, make sure it stops. This is a manual door, so the inspection of this would include lifting it up, and bringing it down. I always leave a door however I found it. I found this door locked. I'm going to make sure I keep it locked. If I found the door open, then I'll leave it open. I will have to repeat this operation multiple times if I'm in a terminal. But if I'm in a building like this and there's just one door, then I just do the one door. As an inspector recommendation, I would do all my docks and all the exterior when I'm outside. And then when I come inside, that's when I would do the inside portion of these doors. I can note the physical damage on the outside, and I can note the physical damage from the inside. It's about having a little bit of an economy of your walking steps as well, and not running in and out and in and out. And then also, as an aside, make sure you talk to the building occupants about opening these doors. Some might be on security systems, some might be locked for purpose, some might be inaccessible. Just document everything you do is the most important thing on any inspection. So loading docks could be one loading dock in the back of a building, or it could be dozens, if not hundreds of loading docks in the back of a terminal. Your procedure for your inspection will be the same, just multiple times over. Think about being a consultant. Talk about considering adding bollards where bollards need to be, locks where trailer locks could be, but it's important to note damage. The physical damage to the property, be it cushions, bumpers, or missing elements like guardrails and railings. Follow the ComSOP, section 6.5.11, doors, windows, and interior, covers overhead doors, garage doors, and loading docks. And think about all those other things on the exterior that would encompass any damage we have on the docks. Follow the ComSOP and do great inspections.